Welcome, welcome. This is the Enlightenment Podcast, and I'm your host, Laurie Schoenfeld. This is a part of the Authors on Air Global Radio Network. Thank you for all of those who are joining us live and for those who will join us later on the replay. Our guest today is Justin Crane, and we're going to be chatting all about joy in finding new purpose. Welcome, Justin. So excited to have you here with us.
Thank you. I'm very appreciative of you allowing me to come on your show. I love what it stands for.
Absolutely. And I love enlightenment is a powerful word for both of us. And I'm excited to dive into that of what it means for you today. Can you share with our viewers who you are and what you're up to in the world right now?
Okay. Yes, ma'am. My name's Justin Crane. I'm an aspiring actor, and I'm also an aspiring philanthropist because I feel like there's a lot of things that need to be done in order to try and give our kids a better opportunity to grow in society. You know, it's like a lot of people don't understand that there's a lot of things that hinder us from growing when it comes to, going through adversity and things of that nature. So I kind of want to address some of those things and maybe kind of redirect our kids that are being misled or have a better probability of, becoming a productive, law-abiding, successful citizen in society. And then they could go on to teach our other youth, because there's a lot of things that are being left out, and it almost seems as if schools just consuming time, and it's not pointing them in the right direction. And when it comes to how to take on life and go about it in an appropriate manner, they're leaving out the reason for morals and the reason for values and the reasons for professionalism and things of that nature. So I kind of want to put together some type of program to where I could get to troubled youth and then kind of start setting some type of example or some type of code of ethics that they could follow, and they can know that it leads to a brighter future. My reason for, wanting to do something of this nature is just, it has a lot to do with the adversity that I've had to overcome in my life. And I've been able to go all the way from the bottom, and see it firsthand. And then now that I'm older and I'm refined and I'm a gentleman and I have chose the right side, the light side, the better way of being, I realized that a lot of our other brothers and sisters that are in positions that are similar, or that are in similar walks of life when it comes to that type of adversity, I know what they're being taught, and it's the exact opposite of things that'll help them be successful. So I'm going to try and put together some type of curriculum, and then some type of I guess you could say, I really want to do a boys ranch, and take on 12 boys at a time, and then try and get them situated to where they can have a better understanding of empathy, being able to put themselves in other people's shoes so that they can see things for what they are from somebody else's perspective, and then get a better understanding of why you don't hurt people. Because there's extended victims, if someone were to steal from you, they don't just hurt you, they hurt your babies, because now you're financially strapped and you're not allowed to get them the things that they like to do. So I'm kind of all over the place with this. It's just a lot crammed in this big old head of mine.
I love it so very much. Coming from my own background with growing up with abuse in multiple forms, my journey has been very similar of seeing the toxic place that I grew up in and how I treated other people, and learning now different ways to heal myself, but also help my own children and give them the things that I didn't know was possible at that point, and helping them to have a better life as well. I would love for you, Justin, to jump right into that with what you just talked about on your journey of how you are where you are right now, but your journey and your story of what got you to the point of finding this new sense of purpose within your own life.
Okay, sure. That's not a problem. I'll be happy to oblige. So I was kind of raised I come from humble beginnings. You know, my mama used to have to hunt for our food when we were kids. We were that poor. And we would literally eat snake and frog legs and squirrel and birds and things of that nature that she would shoot with a rifle. And then from there, you know, it kind of got worse and worse and worse. Well, I mean, from there it doesn't get any worse, you know. Like it couldn't get any worse, but it didn't get much better, you know, because it's a process, you know. And we started Section 8 housing, you know, living in project housing and stuff like that, and getting food stamps and things of that nature. And when you're down there, I mean, they teach you the exact opposite of of takes in order to be successful in a business setting. You know, they don't teach you professionalism. They don't teach you to enunciate. They don't teach you things that'll help you progress. You know, that'll help the probability of you becoming a successful person in society. So that's where that stems. You know, that's where my motivation comes from, is because there's so many talented young individuals that are just like they're not having the opportunity to live up to their potential because of, you know, what's being taught when it comes to the, I guess you could say, like lower level life, or, you know, poverty level life living. So I'm going to do something to address that before it's all said and done. I'm sure of that. And you know, I've had four brothers and a baby sister taken by the state of Texas. Child Protective Service took them because my stepmom and my dad were kind of like wrapped up in a messed up way of living. You know, they were doing drugs and things of that nature. And so I got to look at that at first hand. You know, we lived in motel to motel on Austin Highway here in San Antonio. We lived in the Sutton Homes, which is like the projects, like people getting killed right on our front doorstep. You know, I've seen a couple people get murdered. You know, like from here to that dresser right behind me on this side. You know, and my dad just would grab me by the scruff of my neck and pull me in the house and say, "You don't know nothing. You need anything. Just get inside and don't say anything." I'm like, "Yes, sir." And so it's kind of like just, you know, going day for day, day for day. And while I was out there, you know, I kind of like got into athletics, and that really saved my life. Is basketball. Basketball is one of the things that really saved my life. So I'm definitely going to implement that as well, because people who come from those types of struggles, they're very competitive, you know, when it comes to sports and things of that nature, because that's where they get their release, you know, from what's going on in the world. And that's very important, or a very key factor, in my opinion, for a lot of young men and young women as well. um Me, I had to refine myself. I basically had to do it myself. Don't get me wrong, my mom was trying to teach me the whole time. She was letting me know that, you know, you need to have morals and manners and values. You need to be saying yes sir, no ma'am. But I was more defiant because of the route that I took, you know. And that's basically what they were teaching you. Like, nobody's going to help you. You're going to have to go through this by yourself, and you're going to have to buck the system and beat the system any kind of way you can, just to get back to even, you know. And my mom was trying to teach me, but I wasn't listening. So, you know, I was kind of like, you know, I was defiant to her because I was raised under my dad. And my dad was like, anything goes, you know, any given day could be your day, you know. So it's kind of like seeing it firsthand, and it kind of like had a grip on me, and then it kind of like formed me into this person that, you know, I should have never became. I should have had a little bit better structure. I should have listened to what my mom was promoting when it comes to all the positive ways of going about living, you know. And my dad kind of instilled it into me that it was me against the world. It was us against the world, you know. And I know that that's going on in those types in poverty levels. So I have to address that. Other than that, you know, I did end up going to TYC, Texas Youth Commission. That's like prison for teens. And that kind of actually, that helped me a little bit. You know, I went through a section, I went through a Marlin orientation assessment unit, and they kind of like started teaching us about empathy and things like that, and extended victims of crimes, and why not to hurt people because of all the other people that get hurt when you hurt somebody. You know, like if I murdered some boy, you know, because we had a gang difference, you know, because he was red and I was blue, and I kill him, it's not that I'm hurting him, I'm hurting his mom. His mom no longer has a son, his brother no longer has a brother, sister doesn't have a brother, people that they love, people that they've spent their whole lives with, grandmother no longer has a grandson. So those are a lot of things that need some attention, because it could do a lot of good, in my opinion, because it'll keep other boys with that type of like that type of sense upstairs from doing things of that nature. And so TYC helped me a lot. I went to Mel Matthews Boys Ranch for probably about 2.5 years of my life. And that's where I started going to church a lot, you know. And my mom would try to put me in church, but like I said, I was defiant with my mom, because uh, I was with my dad from like 4 to 8, you know, like very important years. I was with my dad almost the whole time, from like probably from an infant to young adolescent. And so it was already formed, you know, because you have a certain amount of time from like 0 to, I guess it's 5, before you make the impact on what that kid's gonna, like what route he's gonna take, if you're out making a difference as a parent. And so um that kind of got me going in the wrong direction, you know. And I turned real, I was real ghetto, you know. I was a very ghetto child, and I spoke with the terminology, and I spoke slang, and I hung around with gang members, and you know, I smoked weed and did things of that nature, you know, and got, you know, just doing foolishness. I was just getting involved in foolishness instead of like uh, walking in obedience, because when you walk in obedience, those things are not going to be a part of anything that you want to be involved with, because they have no real satisfaction at the end of it, you know. It just like comes, it just like adds up and adds up and adds up until it turns into like a poison that takes over you, and causes one to make bad decisions. So let me see. I stayed lost in that way for far too long in my life, you know, but I never really had a bad heart. I was always a good natured human being. You know, like the devil didn't get my soul. You know, he didn't get me to like completely sell out to being a part of the scheme, but he kind of like had me, because I was misled into thinking that that was okay. Like, this is what, okay, I could do this, I could do that. Because, I mean, the first time I ever got drunk, I was 7 years old. The first time I ever got stoned off of marijuana, I was 4 years old, because my babysitter, he kind of just like got me stoned, and I guess he wanted to have a good laugh. My mom kicked his butt. Let's put it that way. And so, my dad used to smoke with me when I was probably about like 15 years old. That was when I first started smoking with my dad. And then, you know, one thing leads to another, and you start making bad decisions. You're going down the wrong path and stuff. And then the next thing you know, it's, of course, it's going to be inevitable that you end up in debt or in jail, you know. And so I did end up in prison. I got a 7-year sentence. I went for 6 years, 9 months, and man, that was an eye opener. That definitely turned me into a man, made me put me in a position to where I could say no to anything, where I was no longer gullible, you know. So I guess that was necessary in order for my growth to happen. So I went from 26 to 32. That was very difficult, you know, trying to like adapt to that stuff on the fly, because you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's happening when it comes to like pressure situations. Any day of the week, you can end up killed or murdered over, I don't know, not paying a 2 soup bet. You know, it's like, so you see all this stuff, and I'm green as it gets, and all these like prison gangs, they want me to join their prison gang, and I was just like, I don't want to get involved with anything that y'all have going on. I'm just gonna try and sit down and focus, and figure out what type of what I want to become in life, you know, or what I want to do, or what path I want to take in life, because I had never really taken the time to sit there and understand that. Because when you're living that life on that lower level, and it's just every day, it's like super fast. It's just going, 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 and you have to make decisions on the fly, and more often than not, your decisions are not in the best interest of your growth as a person trying to be successful. So while I was in there, I started watching successful gentlemen, people like Denzel Washington and Mark Wahlberg, and people like Pierce Brosnan, you know. And I started watching like how they stood in faith, you know, and how they were successful and how they carried themselves, and those became like people that I wanted to be like, you know. So I was like Brad Pitt and stuff, you know. So I started paying attention to the way of their being, or the way they went about every time they were being interviewed or anything like that. So I was like, you know what? That's what I need to be like, you know? So I was like, so I'm going to start carrying myself like a gentleman as well. And I'm going to start carrying myself with some type of sense. And I'm going to stop all this ghetto crap, you know, because obviously it's got me nowhere, you know? And I mean, I was in prison, you know? So I was like, I don't want to be in prison. I don't want to be just like a waste of life. So I started following them, and I started like expanding my vocabulary, started studying and started reading and started learning, and started like tapping in with God, you know, like turning a light, like asking him to turn the light on, just like help me see like what is it that I need in order to like start going in the right direction. And I don't know, I just like one day it was like I had to I had this idea, you know what? I'm gonna just start asking God for the attributes that I need that surround the position that I want to be successful in. So I started praying for things, you know. I started asking God. I started taking it to God. I was like, can you make me intelligent and wise and capable of making good decisions so that that way I could get out of this rut that I put myself in? Can you make me handsome and charismatic and, you know, social? And slowly but surely, like all of it just started coming around. So then I had something to give thanks for, because that's kind of like how prayer works. You know, you ask for it, you ask for it, you ask for it, and then once you get it, you have something to give thanks for, so that that way you lock it in as an appreciation. And so all that worked to my favor, and everything turned out very well for me. Um, and I know that like religion is definitely something that a lot of people don't like to talk about. Or, you know, like society's kind of like programmed us to not want to talk about that. But that's something that we really should get understood. You know, when it comes to people, we need to just like dumb it down to the lowest level of ignorance, I guess you could, or like layman terms. You know, we have to put it in layman terms to where it's not like, because in my opinion religion is like a division in humanity. You know, it gives you a reason. It's like even the good people come together, but then they have something to argue about because there's a division when it comes to religion. So if we could just like drop it all the way down to like 1, 2, and 3, you know, like you're good, you're evil, or you're in between. You know, if you're good, you believe in God, you believe in Virgin Mary, you believe in Jesus, the angels, apostles, all of the above. You know, and if you're evil, then you don't want anything to do with that. You see that as nothing but trouble, and it's something that you don't want anything to do with. And then when you're in between those, you're just trying to like figure it out. You're just trying to figure out whether I want to be good or whether I want to be evil. And every single day it's going to be like good or evil. And then it gets to like a boiling point to where you're just like, you know, maybe I don't want to get involved with that. Maybe that's a war between God and the devil, and I'm merely a human. So I kind of understand that perspective. You know, I don't want to get involved. I just want to work. I want to pay my bills and give my children a better opportunity to advance in life. You know, and then maybe they'll make a decision of that nature to go all in. So after prison, that was like definitely my wake up call, you know. And I got out, and then I ended up having a son, two sons actually, um, with a lady that I met at a modeling event. Because when I got out, like I was physically fit, you know. I went in at 169 pounds, and I got out at about 210 pounds. And I came out and I went semi-pro basketball. I played ABA basketball for the San Antonio Texas Fuel as a point guard, shooting guard, and they even had me play a little bit of small forward. So that was awesome. I was a rookie at 35 years old. Um, Let me see. I had my son, Jaden Jackson Crane, who I'm very happy to have fathered him from 0 to 5. But I ended up losing him in a court custody battle. Not yet. I'm still in the midst of a court custody battle, and the lawyer that I hired, he ended up bailing on me last second. So now it's just been reset, and then COVID happened, and that was just like a major setback when it comes to that process. So I'm still in the midst of a court custody battle, but the mother has temporary custody of Jaden. I haven't been able to spend a lot of time with my other son, Danny, but I look forward to spending a lot of time with Danny Eric Davidson. And I'm gonna try and like show him the ropes and stuff, make sure that he gets going in the right direction as well, make sure that he has the social skills and, you know, the skills that are that are necessary in order to become a successful individual in society. Uh, Other than that, let me see.
Can I pause you for a second, Justin? Because I have to say, wow, first off. As fight and flight's a very real thing, as when you're living and that's all you know, that's how you behave because you don't know any different and you're in a continual fight and flight mode every single day to survive. And so the fact that you went from that and then you started implementing within gel, what kind of examples do I want to look up to and implement within my own life? That's a huge piece of growth for sure. Of it's not an easy thing, first off. Like, that's a whole journey to get to that point and say enough is enough. So I'm super amazed that you showed up for yourself and was like, okay, this is enough. I'm done. Now what have I not done that I want to do now? And who do I want to be like? Because that's very powerful and very hard to do.
Mhm.
And you showed up doing that.
So for me, it was more like a fight or fight. There was no flight. There was no option of flight, you know. And I guess you could say life took me all the way to the bottom, you know, like below sea level. And I don't know, you know, like it just gave me a lot of time to sit there and figure out things and to try and like to learn and to get wisdom and knowledge and understanding, because this whole time I've been praying. I've just been praying for everything that I need, and it's been coming to me. And even when I read, you know, I have like this ability to interpret a lot better, and everything just like it started just locking in, you know, and it started showing me on how I want to go about carrying myself as a gentleman, and how I want my son to go about carrying himself as a gentleman. I don't want him to be a part of the problem. I want him to be a part of the solution. So, you know, it's almost common sense. It was almost common sense for me in a sense at that point in my life. Of course, that took way too long. And I know that this is happening to other kids and they're giving up, you know, that they're letting life like grab them and then just, you know, just do whatever with them. And it's like I found out that my adversity, you know, because I let my adversity hold me down for such a long time. I was like, oh, I'm nothing. I'm just trash, you know, like I'm from the gutter. I'm from the projects. It's like I don't have anything good to look forward to or anything like that, you know. None of that good living was meant for me, you know. And I let that stuff just hold me down and hold me down and hold me down. And then finally I realized I went through all of that for a reason. You know, I was homeless for a reason. I was in prison for a reason. I was in a runaway shelter for a reason. And it's to become an inspiration for others whom are going through the same walks of life. And being that inspiration, like when they see me and they see the way that I carry myself, they're like, hey man, I read your story and I saw what you went through, and I've been going through the same thing, but how were you able to turn it around? Well, how I was able to turn it around was everything that I was doing was amounting to nothing, because it was the wrong way to go about it. You know, I wasn't going about my responsibilities in a proper manner. You know, I was basically like I was just like letting life take me by the reins, you know, like each and every day. It's like, and then you would get lost into some type of like, I guess you could say, um, you get lost in a way, you know. It's like every day it's like, okay, wake up, need to figure out how I can get some marijuana, you
Mhm.
know, or how I can party, or how I can, you know, do something that amounts to nothing. Basically, that's what's going on in the lower levels. It's like, oh, we need a party, or we need to smoke, or we need to do this, and that's how we get through the day every single day. So I started realizing that there's something deeper going on. It's almost like a big bad wolf preying on our sheep, and our sheep was me at one point, you know. And I know that our sheep or our lambs are our babies, you know. So now it's about stopping the big bad wolf from turning our little lambs into sick little lambs, because there's a day of devour that's, you know, all this is leading to a day of devour when the big bad wolf is going to try and come and get as many meals as he can, meaning like souls or whatever, or scare our babies. And so I don't want them, you know, like I don't want our babies to be little sick lambs when it comes to that day, you know, because the big bad wolf doesn't want he doesn't want a tough meal. You know, like somebody like me, he knows he can't mess with me because I'm already claimed by something that's greater than that. You know, like my God is an awesome God, like a great, like magnificent, wonderful, the best ever. So I had to turn the light on for the rest of my little brothers and sisters so that way they can start like asking for the things that they need in order to stand tall when it comes to the stumbling blocks or the snares or the tricks or the traps, you know, like so that they can see things for what they are before, you know, kind of like basically give them the answers to the test. And so I'm definitely going to have to write a book that's going to expose all of that. It's going to like, hey man, this is what you need to pay attention to when you're going through this. This is what you need to pay attention to when you're going through that. And if you see things like this, then guess what? That's tendencies of somebody who's involved with something that you don't want to be involved with, which is like a more evil way of whatever's going on that side. So
You mentioned a few times about asking,
about
uh,
what?
about asking, how you asked for the things that you wanted to be and wanted to create within your own life. Was that one of the biggest changes for you that helped you to shift from where you were to where you want to be? Is leaning in and asking for that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That was very key to my change, you know, to like creating a better Justin, you know, because it wasn't like I was really going to God in prayer beforehand. It's kind of like I was just like living each day, just living each day, you know. And then once I realized that all that stuff was leading to nothing, it's like, golly. And then there was actually a point in my life where I was literally tempted by Satan, you know, like he wanted me to be a part of his team and to live lavish. And of course I was inebriated and I had an altered state of mind, but I was totally conscious of what was going on. So I was like, I'm totally conscious of what's going on, so I'm going to ask questions. And right before I went in there, because it was technically it was my supposedly one of my friends, you know, but they weren't my friend at all. They turned out not to be my friend at all. They were, I guess you could say, the devil's advocates. And they were giving me opportunities, you know, to live lavish and bling bling. And I was in the projects, so you know, I had nothing. It was like my most vulnerable point. They waited until I got all the way down into where I had nothing to fall back on, nothing to support me. No, you know, it was like the most vulnerable point or the most opportune time for them to try and hit me with the opportunity to try and get me to be a part of the the schemes that are going on that are not seen but perceived in life. Because a lot of people, they kind of want to like not get involved when it comes to God and the devil, but it's a very real thing. And that's not an opinion. That's actually a fact. Like I've gone from a believer to I know, you know, but being able to try and put that out on a platter for everybody to know and understand, they have so many different angles to where they could just like, you know, try and oh well, what about this and what about that and why does this happen and why does that happen? Well, that's not for us to know, you know. That's for something, I guess we could figure that out, or we could get, whenever we get to where we're headed, you can ask the creator why this and why that happened, and I'm sure an excellent response, or he'll have the response that you're just gonna like, that's what it was. So asking was like my relationship with God, you know. Like it's like, you know, I felt like everybody um bailing on me, you know? Like my grandma, she passed away, my dad passed away, my grandpa passed away, and those were like three main people that I knew actually genuinely loved me, you know? It wasn't just like going through the motions and stuff like that. And then I have my brother and my sister, and we've gone through so much together. And then I have my mother, and I we put her through hell like you wouldn't believe. So, it's just, I don't know exactly how to explain it, to be honest with you. It it was like pressure situations and going through temptation and stuff like that and denying it. And, the whole time the the darker side was coming after me, but I was reaching for the lighter side, but there was no answer from the light. It was like, you have to go through this. I need to make sure that you're going to be faithful. I need to make sure that you're going to be loyal. And then finally I got my angel, and then my angel, oh my goodness, that saved my life. Like, my angel was like, I think it was my dad, and he spoke through my brother. And then what happened? Okay, so I was going off the deep end. I just wanted to leave the earth. I didn't want to be here anymore. And I was like, look, there's no love. I'm not getting any kind of love or anything like that. And every time I turn around, it's like another, like, I don't know, another I guess backslide, or another, you know bad decision, or something else, like a debt or something, or like, I don't know, just, it was just like one thing after another, like the world was trying to break me. So anyway, my brother comes downstairs one day, and I was like going off the deep, and I was trying to like party myself to death, because I would never kill myself, like I couldn't like slit my wrist or shoot myself or anything like that, because my dad had told me when I was a kid, that that's a coward's way out. I never saw myself as a coward. So I was like, that's not even an option. That'll never be an option. So I'm just going to party myself to death. So I started going extreme. I started getting very, very extreme with it. And I was just hoping that, like, my heart would pop and stuff, and that I would like go. And so this is where I found out that adversity was going to be a major factor in my life, that I went through things for a reason. And so my brother, he sits in a chair outside, and it's two chairs, and they're in the light, and I'm in one chair in the dark. And when my brother came down, um, he sat outside and he started talking to me. My brother talks to me kind of like on a stoner level, kind of like a, hey bro, let's smoke a blunt or whatever, dude. So, and so he never talks to me on an intellectual level, an intellectually advanced level. And this time he was talking to me on like an intellectually advanced level, and I was like, Josh, I was like, is that you? And he's like, I just wanted to let you know, man, that what you're doing, it makes no sense, because you have everything that you have right here is is exactly what we need in order to make a major impact, in order to make a positive impact. And all we need you to do is just step up to the plate, and we need you to be a player for, the brighter side of things. We need you to shine a light into all the darkness and everything that's going on here in the world. If we could shine that light, you can inspire millions on millions on millions. And I was like, how the heck is that? Because I didn't have any understanding of this at all whatsoever. All I knew is that my whole life was just crap. It was like from watching my dad get raided when I was 7 years old, and they took him to jail, and then like going to live with my mom, and then the earthquake in California, and then the next thing you know, I'm in TYC, and then the next thing you know, it's like TDCJ, and then uh, Section 8 housing. It's like, golly, Sam shelter, living in motels, losing brothers to the state of Texas. It's like nothing was ever good. Nothing was ever good. And I was just like giving up, slowly but surely, just giving up. Like, there's no hope for me. And that night saved my life, because that's when I started building. Because when it comes to your prayers and stuff like that, each prayer is like a little brick. It's like every time you pray, you're like adding a little brick. And when you look at those prayers, it's just like a whole bunch of bricks. But those bricks are doing something. You know what I mean? They're actually creating something. And so next thing you know, you have enough bricks to build a house. It's like, don't stop there. It's like, go all in. Start adding as many bricks as you can to that pile. And those bricks are representations of your prayer. Next thing you know, you have a mansion. Now you got a castle. Now you have everything that you want. So let's start putting bricks on other people's who aren't getting bricks. Nobody's praying for like certain kids out there, like for our little young ones. They're just like being left out there, hung out to dry, I guess you could say, you know, and they don't even have a chance almost. So that's where like my empathy and stuff came in. So when my angel told me that we need you and that we want you to play for us, like stick around, because I was just like, I just want to come home. I just want to go home, meaning heaven. I just want to go to heaven. I just want to go to heaven. And he was like, well, what if I asked you to stay here and work for us? And I was like, okay, I'll do that. Like, what do you want me to do? And then slowly but surely, like, it started like all coming to fruition, you know, and started letting me know what I need to do. And right now I need to write a book that's going to be major. It's going to save so many souls. It's going to be like a celebration when we get to heaven. So I know all this
story is so powerful, Justin. And I love how you talked about the bricks of building your own foundation. And when you start building your own foundation, then you can start knowing how to help support others to begin their foundation. So it's got to start with you building your own first and putting down those bricks. That was beautiful, and I love that.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's definitely a mission. I only stuck around for one reason, and that's for our youth. And because all the adults, we've pretty much gone through it. You know what I mean? If you haven't gone through it, then you're still a youth. Like if you haven't made a choice, a conscious, concerted, or what is it? If you haven't made a choice to be good or evil, you know what I mean? Then you're still like a part of the youth. It doesn't matter if you're 37, because some people that are 37, they haven't really had that eye opening, that whiff of reality, I guess you can say. And going through those types of pressure situations like that I went through, I should have never been, you know, faithful, because golly, it was scary. It was scary to have a knife to your throat, to have a gun, to have bullets shot past me. Like, I've been through some crazy situations when it comes to being a soldier for the light. But all that stuff was just to test my faith. And in 2021, you know, like the emphasis can be put on that pressure situation that'll break our kids in an instant. So that's why we have to kind of like concentrate on growing them in a place where evil can't get to them. Because imagine if everything that we hear about, like racism and stuff like that, imagine if we took that into like a different perspective, not on humans, but on good and evil. If we implemented segregation, like keeping good-natured human beings, people with a soul, over here, and all the ones that are a part of the evil schemes or plots or tricks or traps, put them over there, then we could grow our little ones away from the weeds. And our little ones are like, they're like roses, or they're like, if they're girls, let's say they're like flowers, and you want that flower to come to a full bloom and be beautiful. But when that flower is growing, there's little weeds that are all around them, you know, like as they grow, there's like certain things that stunt their growth. And our boys are like trees, you know, like you want to grow a healthy, strong tree. But when you put weeds around that tree, it takes from their growth, you know, it's just like pulling from them. And those weeds are evil. Those are the evil people, like the evil ones. So how I look at it is, if we could get all the weeds out, you know, we could grow a healthy, strong tree. And so when it comes to like, remember I was telling you about the wolf, the big bad wolf waiting on the day of devour and trying to create sick little lambs because those are easier meals. So he's literally attacking. He's attacking in a perceivable manner. So when it comes to three main elements of growth, you know, the three main elements of growth, you need water, sunshine, and good soil, right? Good soil, we'll just call that like food. So we'll say those are the three main elements of growth. So if you think about the water and you got to think from the big bad wolf's perspective. He's like, okay, I need more sick wolves. I need more sick lambs. not sick wolves. I need more sick lambs. So let me attack the three main elements of growth. So we'll start first with the water. So if you start with water, what's the go-to for kids these days? Soda, sweet tea, and then they graduate to coffee, alcohol. All four of those things are diuretics. Diuretics literally kick water out of what you're trying to grow, and our kids are growing. So when it comes to sunshine, you need lots and lots of sunshine. So what is he going to do? Make a very addictive video game, stay inside all day, television, entertainment. How do I keep these kids inside? Let me make them afraid to go outside. Now they're not getting sunshine. Now they're not getting water. Okay, so when it comes to soil, we'll just say that the soil is like wholesome, nutritious foods. So how do I stop them from eating wholesome, nutritious foods? Let's go to snacks on snacks on snacks. Let's go to microwavable bull crap that has no nutritional value whatsoever. Let's go to fast food, no nutritional value whatsoever, little to no nutritional value whatsoever. So those are three main elements that the three main elements for growth, and our children are growing, are being attacked right in front of our eyes because the way of the world is doing that. And now you look at kids these days, my God, it's never been worse. So we have to, like, as parents, as parents, as brothers, as older brothers and sisters who know what's going on, we need to start like bringing some of these things to light, so that way we could grow our kids so that they could be healthy, strong trees instead of brittle and frail, or so that they could be healthy, beautiful, bloomed flowers instead of wilted. And another one of those elements is also like talking good, like words of encouragement and stuff like that. It's like a known fact, if I'm not mistaken, that if you put two flowers together and this one you talk good to every single day and it grows and it's so beautiful, and you talk bad to this one and it wilts, that's God like letting us know, you know what I mean? We need to start turning the light on to get rid of some of this darkness. And so whatever I do, like all of my money is going to go to philanthropy and to kids who have gone through the same types of adversity as me, because money really means nothing to me, because I'm already accepted into something far better than anything money could buy. I mean, don't get me wrong, it makes it a lot more comfortable, and of course it's going to be great for my sons to be able to enjoy the fruits of my labor.
I'm really excited for the book that you're going to write with your story and journey and all of your learnings, because I can tell there's so much more depth and layers and just amazing things that you have to share, that you've seen and gone through. Thank you so much for being here with us and sharing those pieces of your heart with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure.
Where can they find you, Justin, if our viewers have any more questions for you after the show?
Oh, you can feel free to reach out to me anytime on Messenger, Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Let me see, it'll be Justin Terrell Crane on Facebook, and then on Instagram it's just Justin Crane. Yeah, I believe I even have my phone number on there, so if you'd like to just, you can definitely call me. I'm always up for talking about something that of this nature, because there's a lot of change that needs to happen. And sadly, even the way that we're living under our government, that kind of like had the devil's hand in it when it was created. The system that we live and abide by, it basically had the devil's hand, or the devil's advocate, while it was being written. It's like, hey, let's do it this way, this way, this way. And that's like why murderers get off in the court of law, because that's not just. And you could sit there and everybody in the courtroom can know that person's guilty, and then because an officer stepped on the scene with a dirty shoe print that had nothing to do with it, all of a sudden he gets off on a minor technicality. That has everything to do with evil being able to, beat the system. So there's a lot of things that we need to fix, but there's a lot of things that we can't fix. So what we need to do is we need to come together and create something that has nothing to do with, politics or something like that. We also need to stop the division. The divide is
Yep.
that's so humanity won't come together. Because if we come together, we're going to come up with a system that'll keep our kids from ever having to consider selling their soul for a lavish lifestyle. They'll have everything that they already, everything that they could ever possibly wanted or imagined or dreamed of. And they'll be happy because we'll come together and we'll make it a possibility.
What is something that brings you the most joy in your life, Justin?
What brings me the most joy?
Hmm.
Praying at 7 o'clock in the morning, like spending my time. Um, that's enlightening. Like being able to close my eyes and to feel that warmth. It's like, I don't know, because it's like, how could I serve? Like I stand there and I stand like as if. So there's like, to me, there's three different types of people, right? You got Abel, you got the people in between, and then you got Cain. You know the story of Cain and Abel, I'm sure. So Cain was evil and Abel was good, and the people that are in between Abel and Cain, they're trying to figure out whether they want to be good or evil. And so I consider myself a one, like Abel one, like I'm an Abel one, and the three is Cain, and the two is B, because if you look at it, like I'm big on numerology as well. So you got A, B, C, and 1, 2, 3, right? And the twos are B's. Those are the ones that are blameless, are babies. They're in between Cain and Abel. So first place gets gold and third place gets bronze. Bronze kind of looks like gold, but it's a little bit more dirty, And then the twos that don't want to get involved or that don't know any better, they keep their purity, like silver. You know what I mean? So that's like my little analogy of gold, silver, and bronze. So when I get up and I pray, I used to pray as a two, as a blameless individual, and it was just like an act of good faith. And then once I got my angel, now I pray as a one, as a gold, like as how can I serve? What can I do? Is there anything that you need me to address? Is there anything, do you need me to be spiritually involved? Do you need me to be do you need me to like what would you like me to do for you, Lord? And I get like, I don't know, I get answers. So I go out and I go to work. And it's always good. It's always a great feeling. So that brings me great joy to spend time with God and Jesus, and showing my appreciation and showing my love for them turning my life around. Like for showing me real love. They showed me real love. I didn't deserve it.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and your heart today. It's been an honor to hear from you and to be here with us this afternoon. Thank you as well to our sponsor, Nikki Nicholson with Creative Edge Publicity. And for all those who watch today, as you go about the rest of your week, remember to look for all the things that are working around you. You are the writer of your own story. What's the next step you're going to create to build your own journey? Have a beautiful rest of the week. Thank you again, Justin.
Thank you, Lori. I appreciate you. Y'all take care. God bless.